thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I know it's been a long time between videos. As you can see, things are progressing slowly with Grandad Mac, so this is another little update episode on that one. I think I will make this into the next episode of Grandad Mac, because I've got quite a lot of painting done, ready to start reassembly stage now. I'm just looking over there. I've still got handlebars to paint, but so far as all the major components, the frame chassis part is done, the wheels are done, gearbox cover and hubs are done, ready to reassemble. Got tyres mounted onto the rims. Going to be a little bit of editing backwards and forwards in this video, because I have filmed a few little bits and pieces here and there. It's probably been about 4 months, maybe even a bit longer, since I last did the little update video with some bits and pieces in there. So yeah, I'll edit some stuff backwards and forwards from what I've been doing, but I'll grab the camera off the tripod now and just have a quick look at these bits and pieces that are here. And next, I might add a bit more of the start of the assembly in, but then we'll do another episode next of hopefully getting this thing assembled, finishing off the handlebars to fit those, and hopefully getting this thing running and driving around. I haven't started work on any of the implements or attachments yet. There's still a big stack of them here. Good news is we came across a couple more of the missing parts from this, which was an output drive for the PTO that runs a belt forward on the machine to run the roller mower, and also with a twist in the belt it runs one of the side cutting mowers that goes on it as well. So great news, thank you so much Clive. Had a bit of a clean up and a tidy up in the sheds and came across that, as well as a short axle. So now I don't have to worry when I put the wheels on close to the frame having the axle sticking out a heck of a long way past the wheels. I've got the proper short axle that fits in there with the two collars to hold it in place. So that's going to be cool, because that's probably how I'll set the machine up and probably keep it, and only really use that long axle if I ever need it for anything. So yeah, right, I'll grab the camera off the tripod and we'll just have a quick nosy around the shed. Lots of stuff stacked up on the shelf over there to look at that's painted, and then maybe we'll do a bit more filming as I start to put things together as well. I still need to invest in the gearbox oil and grease for repacking the hubs to put those together, so I won't be assembling those until I get grease, but that could be in the next day or two, and then we'll just film as we go, and I'll edit all of this together, and probably could be a bit of a mishmash backwards and forwards here and there, but we'll see how we go, and take it easy. So I'm just doing a little bit more work here today, getting on with a bit more of this painting, getting things taken care of. Got a couple of these wheels set up ready to paint, so I got the tyres fitted, two onto the rims that I'd primed up before. I've had these sitting for about 3 weeks now with just a little bit of pressure inside the tubes just to reshape the tyres. As you can remember, they were all squished up and out of shape from being in the box. Cut a circular sort of template here out of a couple of bits of board and got that, so I've pushed them back off the rim so that I can paint the rim, and then I'll fully inflate the tyre and push it back up to the bead once the paint's dry. Also started with this frame. I've done the underneath side, or some of the underneath side, what's seen the most anyway. Most of it, you're not going to see under there. So I've had it sitting in the sun to get it warmed up. Hopefully that'll help the paint stick. I did notice with the wheel, the first coat of paint that I put on there must have been some of the lubricant or the soapy stuff that the tyre guy used. He said he had a really terrible job trying to get these onto the rims. They're just so small. So yeah, so I've given them a good wipe down now, an extra little sand out, and I've really wiped them down with a wax and grease remover to get rid of anything that's left in there. And we'll throw some more paint on these, a couple of coats, and see how they come up. Cool. while I'm waiting for that paint to dry, I'm just working on these. These are the axle hubs. The wheels actually bolt onto that side. Axle runs all the way through the frame, and they've got the like a little ratchet mechanism on the inside, so the wheel can freely move one way, so you can push it forwards, and then it'll also drive by itself. But if you want to push around a corner, you push one wheel faster than the other. I've got one completely disassembled here already, so that came apart pretty easy. I thought I'd leave the camera rolling while I do this other one, and so you can see everything that comes out of it. So first thing, I guess, is that little retainer bolt that goes onto the axle itself. I have had these open already and had a look on the inside, just to see how they worked and stuff out of curiosity. I was a bit surprised when I pushed this first one open to find it hasn't actually got bearings in it. There's no roller bearings as such. Just once I get it degreased and have a look, maybe it's a bit of a brass shim or something in there that it slides around in. This gets packed full of grease, so I guess regular greasing is going to be important. I had to use the impact driver to undo all of these little screws last time. They were actually screwed closed, and there's punch marks on the side where the screws have been punched to stop them from unwinding. I'm going to try and keep things in two separate piles, so now I've got one complete set over here. I'll try and keep the other complete set over there, and then I'll get a couple of little boxes, because I need one right hand and one left hand, obviously. Otherwise I'll have one wheel drive. Alright, this is the cover, and this is the inside. So there's little spring-loaded lugs on the shaft, and as they go around, they click out into the teeth, and then it locks up to stop it going the opposite direction. So you can see that grease is all pretty rough in there and old, baked and horrible. So I'm going to give these a complete clean out and re-grease. But for now, just get rid of the other nuts off the other side. So I've got one of these units all nicely cleaned out now. I've got rid of all the grease from the inside. Just sort of take the opportunity to show you what it looks like now and how it actually works without all the grease all over it. You can see those little pieces that are spring loaded, and as this turns they spring back out into the teeth, and it can't turn backwards. You get that one way push. These are designed, or I guess designed, so they can be left or right-handed. I've got that other spare hub in there now. If I have a failure on a left hand and this is set up for a right hand, you take this out and the small spring releases, and you can put it back in on the other side to make it run. See, at the moment I've got both those the same way, so that it just lock up. But if I turn this one over as well, then you would end up changing from a left hand to a right hand, or vice versa. So yeah, there you go. Alright, I'm going to carry on. I probably won't get a chance to show you this again until it's all back together, but anyway, that's how that works. We'll pop that back in before I lose anything. Carry on cleaning and painting, and we'll get back to you soon. Okay, so as I said, got a few things taken care of. This is the main frame that I'm going to be using down here on the ground. Let's get this box of wood out of the road. So paint's come out pretty good. There are a few runs here and there. It's not the perfect paint job. Like I've said right through, we make the best of what we can. Painting outside with spray cans under a tree in the wind. I think I've done a reasonably good job on that. Motor obviously mounts through these three studs. So it does look like there's a little bit of a bare patch in here. It's not quite as glossy as the rest. That's probably just the surface finish before the paint went on it underneath. But she's coming out pretty good. Yeah, I'm really quite happy with that. So next parts that we've got, if we come across here, is everything sort of lined up and stacked in this one area here. So last time I had these chain covers for the gearbox were taken care of. That's the little clutch fork, and then these are the covers for the chain, inner and outer. Sitting down here, this is the clutch lever. I've painted one side, still just got to flip it over and take care of the other side. There's not too much sun outside today, so I probably won't do that. I prefer a little bit of warmth in the steel, makes the paint stick better. These are the, I'm not sure what you call them, the clamps. They go either side of the handlebars through the holes in the frame. There's some almost like a cork matting type stuff that goes between them that clamps them and stops the handlebars from rolling around. Two wheel hubs here. These are the outer parts. I've got tape over the threads at the moment for the wheel studs. They've come up pretty good. Most of it is hidden actually inside the wheel. Inside there, these are the back plates, or the covers for those, so they're all taken care of. And my two tyres, so wheels and tyres mounted up, they've come up not too bad. Like, I was having issues with the paint, getting some spots and some oily patches on the surface, but overall, I mean, the paint's, it is what it is. It's in reasonable condition. I'm happy enough with it as it is, so that's pretty good. So this is one of the parts that we were talking about that I found. It's a reduction, or I can't remember if it reduces or increases actually, gearbox that mounts onto the side of the motor, or the PTO output from the motor, and the reduction box on the motor. Belt drives off here, runs forward on the machine to run the mower or the other side cutting, not sure what you call it, a slasher I suppose. So yeah, really wrapped to find that. It has got, you know, a broken piece off the end of the casting here where the stud would come through and the bolt would, or the nut would attach it. But we can make some repairs and deal with that and find a way to overcome that. Laying down in behind here, I don't want to knock anything over, but there's our short axle with the two collars. So I'm not too sure whether the collars go on the inside of the frame or the outside. I've yet to find that out. I won't find that out until I start experimenting with it and reassembling and putting it together. Wheels, I've got a soapy water in here and whack the pressure right up on the tubes to seat those beads. They're still loose because I was pushing the tyre back off the rim to slide those pieces of cardboard, thin board in there to get the painting done without getting the paint all over the tyres. So yeah, that's where we're at now. Yeah, as I said earlier, grease needed for the hubs so I can reassemble them. Just got to inflate these and seat the beads on the rims, and then we can start putting things back together really. The handlebars are still leaning up over here with the little toolbox. I'm trying to find a better, easier, quicker, faster way of removing some of that flaky old paint that's on there, but what I've found, rather than stripping that paint right back, is that I can actually get it to reasonably smooth, and if I get decent coats of paint over the smooth surface, it'll be okay. I can leave it as is without having to get all of the paint right back off to bare metal. Some of that leftover paint will just act as a primer pretty much. And the little toolbox there, the toolbox can go on as an after anyway. That's just getting bolted back through, so not too concerned about that. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Maybe we'll do some assembly work and set the camera up for that and see how we get on. So first thing I'm going to do is set up a work area where I can assemble this, where I know that I can sit the base up on some kind of stand and basically work on it, where I can set the camera up around it to show you what I'm up to, and not have to worry about moving it, because once I start putting the motor on this and fitting things back on it, the weight's going to increase quite substantially, and it's quite hard on my own to move it or lift it around. So I want to make sure I get this in just a good spot. So I'm thinking right here in the middle of the floor, set up on my chopping blocks, the same way that I pretty much had it when I took it apart. So we'll do that now. I'd say that's a fairly happy spot just there. I'm going to be working on the motor first. I'll throw the motor back on there, bolt that down. It rocks a little bit, but we'll be right. And then I have the gearbox, the chain drive cover that comes down through here. So we'll get that back on and just, yeah, see how we go. there we go. First time those two have been back together in a long time. Alright, short battle getting those done up. The motor's now secured to the frame. Yeah, again, coming down to the right size tools again, that's a 5/16 Whitworth nut. Really difficult getting in there with the Whitworth spanner, so I ended up using just a 5/8 there to get as close as I could without putting too much tension on, and obviously rounding the nuts over, and then just switch to the proper 5/8 Whitworth at the end. May have shot myself in the foot a little bit setting it up on this block of wood, because once I put this chain cover on, the hubs, or the hub that goes through for the axle to go through, actually needs to be bolted from the other side, and now I've got this honking great big hunk of wood under there, so I'm going to have to lift it off and maybe find another way to hold this up in the air so I can work on it a bit better, or just sit it on the floor and work on it on the carpet, I suppose. So, but anyway, we'll get this cover on and move along a bit from there. Wish me luck with this bit. We've definitely got an awkward job reaching in behind here, getting these little wee nuts and bolts in, but at least that's connecting back together. So that's those 4 bolts are just finger tight at the moment. Circlet that goes back on here. I don't have circlet pliers, so I use a screwdriver and hope for the best, otherwise the clip goes flying across the shed and I swear lots while I look for it. Okay, so I had a little bit of battling there, managed to get it in, so clutch is all in, sprockets are on, I've got those bolts tightened up underneath. Yeah, wouldn't you know it, Whitworth again, so those little things underneath there were 3/16 Whitworth. So while I've got this tool out, I'm pretty sure the bolts for the other side, there's a hub that goes on the other side that the axle slides through, are going to be the same size, so I'm going to grab that, put that on, and then I'll come back to here, fit the clutch cover down this side of the motor, this side of the chain drive, put the screws in that hold that on, and then maybe I'll set the clutch fork up into there as well, ready to go. And then that's probably about all we're going to be able to do today until I get the grease for the hubs, some gearbox oil to put in here, and then we'll do some more another day. So once I've done these few little bits, then we'll probably wrap it up and call it an episode, and do some more assembly and some running next time once I've got the handlebars taken care of, and those will be fitted as well. So yeah, wheels and tyres will be on it. We'll be away, go for a walk around the lawn, hopefully, fingers crossed. That's the hub on. Now we're just going to get this gearbox cover, chain cover on. So because it's been a little while, I am scratching my head slightly on some of the things and where things go and what things do. So I've got a couple of little bushes that go either side of that clutch fork, and that goes in, so that'll be fun. Alright, let's put this bit on, hopefully I can get it in there. No, too easy. Oh, I'm going to drop it. Mess up all my nice paintwork. So when you know it, the memory card was full and I missed filming putting this thing on, but I've got to remove it again because my memory lapsed and I forgot that the clutch fork actually needs to be fitted in on the inside of there, ready to operate on its spring. There's no way that it can be put in from the outside, it's got to go out from the inside and then slide over and onto the thing. So yeah, I'll get this taken off, get that clutch fork set back up in there, and then we'll put it back together and I'll make sure it operates, and then that'll probably be us for the day. Okay, so here we go, little clutch fork assembly all back in and complete, spring loaded. Gonna be a real interesting one to fit back in there. Just having to overcome that spring pressure while I put the screws in, so yeah, bear with me. Got all of these tight. I noticed I hadn't properly tightened them as well last time, so they're all in firm. Put this bit in. Gotta make sure that the those little things go into the groove on the clutch itself. Lots of tension on that at the moment, so I'm just going to try and get this screw in and started. And it holds. So there we go. Stage 1 reassembly is complete. That clutch should be, it's not a lot of movement, but it's enough to pull the pins on the dog clutch that's in there. Pull the pins out and disengage the drive down to the wheels. So interestingly, this off that reduction box is permanently running the PTO, and whatever implement is running full time, the clutch only disengages the drive forwards for the wheels. So it makes yeah, it's going to make for interesting operation and a little bit of fun. Yeah, so when I just turn this engine over by hand, you can see the PTO drive working in one direction, the axle is turning, and hopefully when this clicks it should disengage the drive and the axle stops turning but the PTO carries on. Should be a click when this re-engages. Not sure it actually did. There it goes. And then once those come around and meet in the holes, the forward drive starts again, and she's all on. Okay, so I couldn't resist. I've just put a little bit of gas in it, only with what I had left in a tiny little bottle up there. Just gotta see if it'll run again. And I'd say it will by the sounds of that. That was an easy start then. So I can't remember, I think that's at idle. That's wide open throttle there, so let's give it another try. At least it sounds like it's got a good spark. I only got it sort of balanced on these couple of bricks, and I am starting it from right next to the muffler. So chances are that's all the fuel that I had in there. There wasn't a heck of a lot that I poured into the tank. Try it again. I was just messing about with the throttle and the governor though, so who knows. Choke's open. So that's probably cutting off here. I got that fuel leak back under here again, so I'm going to have to deal with that. So that's going to be an ongoing issue. Possibly I just resigned to the fact that it's an old machine and it's got a fuel leak, so it is what it is. I'll throw a rag in there to stop that destroying the paint too bad for now anyway, and then we'll have to figure out if we can do something about that. Right, that's us for an episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Back together, clutch was working, drive's working, PTO's spinning. So yeah, we'll call it at that for now, and then hopefully the next one we'll get the wheels on it, get the handlebars all tidied up and fitted, and then we'll be away for a walk around the yard with it. Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, please do it. Need some some numbers for those subscribers. Doesn't cost you a thing. Just lets you know when I post something new, pretty much. Alright, see ya.